Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be getting a little bit creative and we're going to be making a Japanese inspired hamburger. This thing is freaking delicious and I hope you guys like it too. Let's get started. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take a large onion and give it a rough chop. Once we have that done, we're going to set it aside and we are going to work on giving some ginger a rough chop. Now, we would just want to chop up enough, probably about a tablespoon and a half's worth. And then we're going to throw this all in a blender. Now we're going to add 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of rice wine vinegar, a half a cup of water, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Yes, I said olive oil. This is a Japanese inspired burger. We're just making this up as we go. We are going to go ahead and turn on this blender and we are going to blend this until it's mainly liquid with a little pulp. There's probably a word for that. I don't know. What, like French word like puree or something. Now we're going to take our pulpy vegetable juice and put it in a pot. And we're going to boil this, just giving it a stir every so often. You're going to want to keep an eye on this because we're going to boil off most of the water here and we're going to caramelize these onions. And once we get a good browning on these onions, we're going to reconstitute this with some water. We are going to boil this for just a little bit longer and it should darken and thicken up and look somewhat like this. Once it does, we're going to go ahead and take it off the heat. Now we're going to take a wire mesh strain and we are going to push out all the liquid from this pulp. Once we are done with that, we are going to take the juice and put it right back on the heat. Now we're going to add a tablespoon of Dijon mustard to this. You can also use stone ground mustard. And to round out this mustard, we're going to be adding 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. Then we're going to add 1/4 tablespoon of creamy horseradish sauce. And then we're going to add some soy sauce to taste because this is a reduction. So it's always easy to add salt later, but you can't take it away. Once we have our sauce seasoned the way that we like it, then we're going to add about a half a tablespoon of cornstarch. I like to mix mine with water so it doesn't clump up when I add it to my sauce. But we are going to go ahead and boil this until the bubbles become thick. Oh yeah, that's thick. Congratulations, we got our Japanese burger sauce. Now it's time to move on to making our burger toppings. And we're going to start off by cutting up some little crunchy cucumbers. Once we have all of our cucumbers cut up, then we are going to salt them, let them sit for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to rinse them. While we let our cucumbers set, we're going to go ahead and make our pickling brine. And the only thing it consists of is 1 tablespoon of sugar to 1/4 cup of rice wine vinegar. So I have about 2 cups of diced cucumbers here, and there's not enough brine. So I'm going to add another tablespoon of sugar and another 1/4 cup of vinegar. You don't want to overdo this, but this was a good balance here. For the longest time, I would put all of this into a plastic baggie and press all the air out to where the brine was almost coming out the top of the plastic baggie, and then I would ziplock it shut. But now I've got this cool little infuser here. Now I'll show you how it works. So this is a vacuum chamber, and what it's going to do is pull all the air out of the cucumbers and put the brine in the place of where that air was. And so what took like 3 days in the refrigerator in a plastic baggie now takes like 40 seconds. So what we're looking at here is some carrots and a daikon radish. And this daikon radish is actually pretty small compared to most. Actually, it's probably average. It's a good size. It's going to get the job done. Anyway, you know what? We're just going to julienne cut these and we're moving on. Now that we have our carrots and our daikon radish julienne cut, we are going to salt them and let them sit just like our average size cucumbers. I'm going to be using the same brine mixture that I use for the cucumbers. I'm going to be adding about 3 tablespoons of sugar to 3/4 cups of rice wine vinegar, and I'll be adding about an eighth of a cup of water, just because the daikon radish and the carrots don't hold as much water as the cucumbers. Oh, and I'm adding about a tablespoon worth of sesame seeds. We're going to run these straight back to that cool infuser. Now we're going to start working on our crispy rice patty because no Japanese dish is complete without white rice. We are using some day-old jasmine rice, and we are going to be forming a round flat patty on top of some parchment paper. And then we're going to use some all-purpose flour and sprinkle it on both sides. Once we have a smoking hot pan, then we're going to add some vegetable oil to it. Once our oil starts to glisten, then we're going to add our rice patty to it. And we're going to fry our rice patty until it gets golden brown around the outside. Once we see the golden brown, then we're going to give it a flip. Oh yeah, that looks good. So even though it's golden brown on this side, we don't want to cook it as much on the other side, because as much as we want it crunchy, we don't want it like Captain Crunch, cut the roof of our mouth crunchy. You know what I mean? Oh man, you know you did it right when it's looking better than a McDonald's hash brown. Time to get into that beef patty, because you know we're going to be doing that Wagyu Kobe beef, that A5. I'm just kidding. I can't afford that. This is all American Angus, which it still hits if it hits. Once we get that beef patty cooked, we are going to go ahead and butter that pan back up because we are going to put down some pretzel buns. That's about as fancy as this is going to get. We've got our pretzel bun toasted here, and no Japanese burger would be complete without, yes, Kewpie mayo. Now it's time to add our beef patty, and then we're going to top that with a little bit of that homemade sauce. We're going to follow that up with our crispy rice patty. You know what? How about a little bit more sauce? How about a little bit more of that homemade sauce? Then we're going to do a little bit of that sesame, carrot, daikon, radish. And then we're going to follow it up with our Japanese style pickles. And you know what? Just why not? Why not? Just a little bit more sauce. Just a little bit more sauce. And there you have it. This is my interpretation of what a Japanese burger would be. I used a lot of ingredients that is just readily available at just a regular grocery store. I know you can get Japanese mustards and stuff like that. The only thing that's really not available that I had in here was the daikon radish. But thank you guys so much for watching. This burger is actually really good. You guys need to try it. And please like and subscribe and have a blessed day. Just a little bit more sauce.